this shark came out of nowhere. Have you ever played Where's Waldo? Did you guys know that Waldo goes to Bonita Valley? He's been coming here for years. I was so nervous and my palms were sweaty. Knees were weak, arms were heavy. There was vomit on my sweater already. Mom's spaghetti. I was nervous. Sorry for quoting Eminem at church. Have you ever been left behind? I have. But here's my question to you. If you're Mary and Joseph and you lose Jesus, who do you pray to? Like, dear God, we lost you. Hey girl, I was looking through the book of Numbers and I realized I don't have yours. Bang, bang, bang. My aunt would give me like a Christmas card, and that's all it was. I'd open it up, and it would be a picture of her family, like I care, and then I'd be like, "Where's the gift card? Where's the money? I got robbed." Thank you, Luis. These 12 sons, man, they could have their own reality TV show. Like, it would be like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but with less plastic. And I'm still figuring out when I've crossed the line with you guys. Was that it? I'm pretty sure it was 2 years ago. Welcome to My Life as a Comedy. If you're familiar with Aristotle or Shakespeare, you might know the terms tragedy and comedy. Basically, any story, movie, or play can be reduced to one of two genres. Is it a tragedy or is it a comedy? And the same can be said of life, trying to figure out which genre my life is. Is my life a tragedy? Is my life a comedy? I've thought a lot about this, and I think I figured it out. I figured out which genre my life is. It starts with my very first memory. My first clue as to which genre my life might be, tragedy or comedy, comes down to my first clue. I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Everyone close your eyes. I'm not going to do anything weird. Just close your eyes. What is the first memory you have? Like, remember as far back as you can. What is the earliest memory you have? Maybe it's just like darkness and then a doctor pulls you out. Like, I don't know. Like, what is your first memory? Go ahead and open your eyes. I've thought a long time about this when my first memory. I'm not proud of it. I've tried to think of a different memory. This is my earliest memory. Is my mom's face looking completely horrified. I'm like 2 or 3, standing in the living room of our apartment, brand new carpet. She's at the table looking at me with panic in her face, standing up and running towards me. My pajama onesies are down at my ankles, and I am relieving myself all over the carpet. And that is my first memory. I have tried to think of something else. I tried, to remember something else before that. I can't remember. I just remember her running at me, pulling up my pajama pants, picking me up, taking me to their bathrooms, like, this is where it is. This is how you do it. That's my first memory, which is my first clue that my life might be a comedy. My second clue would be this photo right here. I didn't Google that. This is me. That lovely lady right there, that's my mom. She loved theater. She loved theatrics. That's where I get it from. That's why I love all the costumes and theater stuff that I do. I get it from her. That is a monkey. That is a puppet monkey. Raise your hand if you've ever been a part of VBS in the last 2 years here at the church. You volunteered. All right, so you know how we have Bobo? Bobo the monkey? We have Bobo because of that monkey. That inspired it right there. So that was my mom. But let's zoom in. that dude on the left, that's me. I don't remember volunteering for this. I don't think I put that on myself. I really don't. I think that was done to me. It gets worse. Check out this photo right here. This is 4th of July. My family was in the parade. Let's zoom in closer. That's me. That's me as a mime. Do you guys know what a mime is? A mime, you paint your face white like a geisha. You pretend you're stuck in a box. You don't speak. You wear black and white stripes like an old school prison. My family, we were all mimes. Okay, my dad, my mom, my older brother, myself, we traveled around to different churches and performed mime. I have a theory as to why my parents wanted me to be a mime, because as a mime, you're not allowed to talk, so it's a great parenting technique. I don't know. I remember we were in Arizona once, and we got on stage. We go to the bathroom first and put white on our faces and maybe a teardrop. I don't know how it works. And then you go out there and we would do mime. And my brother always got to be Jesus in every show, and I was Satan every time. And I lost every time. I died at the end of every show. And I got tired of it. So one time I tried to win. I tried to beat him. But he's 5 years older than me, and he was Jesus. And I could not win that fight. That's clue number 2, that my life might be a comedy. My third clue has to do with something my family would do when I was a kid. I never understood this. Let me know if your family ever did this. It's really random. My parents would just pack all of our bags, randomly. They'd pack our bags, they'd pack a tent, and then we would just move to the forest. Did that ever happen to you? They would just move to the forest for a little while. And our house wasn't flooded. There was no mold. Our house was doing unbelievably well. I don't know why we would leave it, but we would pack everything up, pack our clothes, move to the forest for a week, and they called it camping. And I never understood why we do this, because I hate camping. You know why I hate camping? Because I hate dirt. I'm that kid. I grew up, I wake up, I have to take a shower. Before I go to bed, I have to take a shower. Sometimes on lunch break, come home, take a shower. I am the reason there has been a California drought for so many years. I have to have my 3, sometimes 4 showers, not gonna lie to you guys. I have to be clean. So here I am in the middle of a forest in dirt, and I'm sticky and smelly and dirty, and it's midnight, and little Jason just can't sleep. I need my shower. So I woke up, I went to my parents' tent. I said, Mom, Dad, this is an emergency. I need you to wake up. My dad started snoring louder, which I was like, wait a minute, you can't just, you're awake. There's no way you just snore loud. That's your way of saying, honey, take care of this. My wife, my mom, his wife, my mom looked at me with compassion in her eyes, and she knew this kid's not gonna sleep. We have to, if he doesn't get a shower, he's gonna bug us all night. So she was like, all right, Jason, we'll go. And so she starts walking me to this cabin in the woods. That's scary. There's a little cabin where they have showers. And I don't know what happened that night. It was like that time of the month where the moon just doesn't show up and do its job. It was just pitch black, completely dark. We're walking. I don't know if you've ever been in the forest at nighttime when the moon's not shining, but there are weird noises. There are noises that animals should not make. There are things that I don't know if you ever just stop. What? What are you doing? It's an ambush? You start walking. I swear I can hear insects whispering my name. We're getting closer to the men's restroom. And right when we get to the men's restroom, there's a big sign that says, out of order. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to a public men's restroom, but they have to be pretty bad before we guys put a sign on the door. We will put up with a lot. We will go in there and the toilets will be flooding and we'll be barefoot at the beach and be like, this'll do. And we will just go in there and just be like, maybe if I'm quick, it won't stick. And walk out of there. For us to put an out of order sign on they're always out of order. I have never been to a men's restroom in public that was not out of order, but we don't put a sign on it. So when I saw that sign, I thought, this is bad. And my whole reason I'm here is to be clean. There's the whole reason we're on this hike. We're hiking so I can take a shower. So then I got really sad. I got really sad, you guys. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the compassion. Thank you. So my mom looked at me, and she knew, like, we got to get this kid a shower. So she had an idea. She's like, why don't we use the girls' restroom? Because, you know, it's like midnight. No one should be awake right now. We shouldn't be awake right now. But, you know, you can. And I was like, I don't know. I've heard about these things called cooties. Like, I don't know. But I figured, you know, no one else is going to be awake at this time. Like, we're in the middle of the forest. So I go in there, and I discovered something that whoever built these showers thought, like, let's just put, like, a hose and, like, one small wall and no curtain. And I was like, what? I hate this. I hate this camping thing. So I'm taking a shower, and then randomly, you guys, some random mom and daughter decided at 12:30 we need to use the restroom. So I hear these female footsteps walk into, and I'm like, man, I'm going to be in the news tomorrow. Like, this kid creeped in, and I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. Like I said, there's no curtain there. So if they walk all the way to the back, this is game over for everybody. And my mom, man, she came so prepared. She had 2 towels with her. So she quickly walks to the back. She's like, here, put this towel on. She puts one towel here to here, right? Just pretending, you know. And then she covers me. And then she takes the other towel, and she makes a turban and puts it on my head to make it look like my hair went up. Genius. I looked at my mom. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. They're going to see my manly face. I was in 5th grade. They're going to see my manly face. They're going to know. They're going to see that one little hair. They're going to know. I get nervous. And she's like, you know, just walk like a girl. I was like, oh, okay. Like, it looks more like a T-Rex, but I thought that's how girls walk. I'm trying not to make eye contact. This little girl my age looks at me. I was like, what do I do? I'll just giggle. Because that's what I thought girls do. To greet each other, you just giggle. And I kept walking. I was so embarrassed. But you know what the most embarrassing thing was? They looked at my face and thought, yeah, that's a girl. They didn't even question it. They didn't even stop and be like, what? No, they were like, yeah, you may pass. You are one of us. I'm like, come on, at least question it. Seriously. That hurt my feelings. And that was my 3rd clue that my life just might be a comedy. But then something happened, you guys. We go through these moments in life where your life begins to transition and you begin to see life differently. See, my dad's a pastor, and growing up, we grew up in a small apartment, and our church met in the apartment. I was part of the worship team because I had a toy guitar, and I would play with my dad. And it was a small apartment. It was the kind of apartment that if you drop a napkin, like in the hallway, you had like wall-to-wall carpeting. You know what I'm talking about? Like super tiny. And people would come over, and one time, this amazing African-American family joined our church, and they had 3 kids that were slightly older than me, and I just loved hanging out with them. I became like best friends with them, and we play basketball, we listened to Christian rap music. Like, I did everything that they loved doing, and I was like, man, I love this life. So finally, I realized something, that I have had a secret desire my whole life that has gone unmet. So I called a family meeting. This is gonna make some of you uncomfortable, just so you know. I called a family meeting, and I said, Mom, Dad, we need to talk. We need to talk. I looked at them in the face. This really happened. I looked in the face, and I said, why'd you make me white? I'm not happy about this. I can't jump really good. I'm not good at basketball. Are you guys uncomfortable yet? I don't have rhythm. Like, why you went to a baby factory, you chose chubby white kid with a sprinkle of acne. Like, what? I want to be black. I've always wanted to be black. My parents looked at me. They tried to then explain to me where babies come from. I wasn't buying it. I was like, no. First of all, Dad, you did nothing. Mom did all the heavy lifting. And you're pretty much just blaming biology and God on you picking me to be white. I'm not. That was a weird story you just told me. I hope it's not true. Anyway, I wanted to be black because my favorite celebrities were black. Are we doing okay right now? I will talk about Jesus, I promise. My favorite celebrities were black. Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, the greatest man to walk the earth, not really, but I loved him. Man, like Chicago Bulls, I watched the finals every year. He went to baseball. I was like, now I like baseball. Like, I loved Michael Jordan. My second favorite celebrity, R. Kelly. Yes, as a kid, I liked R. Kelly. How unfortunate is that? Praise God, I did not meet him as a kid. Woo! Dodge that one. And you might be like, Jason, why Michael Jordan and R. Kelly? Well, I'll tell you why. Space Jam. Space Jam came out. Come on, yeah, Space Jam. Woo! Space Jam came out, man. That was my favorite movie. That was my favorite movie. It begins with this little kid and his dad. It's a beautiful moment. They're playing basketball. He's not really good, and I can relate to that. And all of a sudden you hear, I used to think that I could not go on. And I was like, sometimes I feel that way too. This is speaking to my song. And life was nothing but a knot for some. I was like, yeah, kindergarten's rough. But now I know the meaning of true love. And I was like, I don't yet, but okay. I'm leaning on the everlasting arms. I was like, oh, R. Kelly's a Christian. Kids, it's safe. And then he would say, I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. With my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. And I would be in my backyard jamming that song with my Air Jordans on, a small basketball in my hand, and a basketball hoop that was 4 feet tall, pretending to stick my tongue out and go from the free throw line like, ah. And I'd still miss because I'm white. I couldn't reach the 4-foot rim. Parents, we need to have a talk. All that to say, I love this family. And the dad was like really strong. So I would go up to him sometimes and be like, hey, rocket ship. And then he would take me and just throw me in the air and finish like a 5-minute conversation and then catch me right before I hit the ground. He was so strong. Man, all the kids, we loved hanging out with him. We would just jump on him. We had this game we would do. He'd be sitting like at a picnic table, and then we would like be like little ninjas, and we run up behind the table, jump on the table, and jump on his neck, right? So my leg is on this shoulder, my other leg's on this shoulder, and then he would stand up real quick, no hands. He would just stand up real quick, and then we would start falling backwards, and then he would catch our toes. It was awesome. And then one day, we were at the park, and he was sitting at one of those picnic tables that are made out of cement and hatred. And I thought, oh, he doesn't know I'm coming. So I like ran up behind the table. I jumped on the table. I jumped on his neck. And I was like, go, 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 go. And he stood up real quick. And he missed my toes. And the back of my head chipped the cement table. And he felt terrible, as he should. He picked me up real quick, but I gotta be honest with you. The truth is, he didn't do anything wrong, but the truth is, that day, something changed in my head. Not because I hit my head, maybe, but my worldview changed. See, when you're a kid, you think adults are perfect. You think your parents are perfect. You find people who you feel safe around, and you think, I will always feel safe around. And that day I learned something, that even the people you feel the safest around can hurt you, even if it's an accident. I learned that day that there are no superheroes, that people will disappoint you, that people will let you down. And my worldview began to change because I grew up thinking my life is a comedy because I thought the world was so safe to be in. And when I saw his weakness, I thought, who else is weak? The truth is, he wasn't weak, but I had a false view of what it meant to be an adult and to be a man. And that day I walked away holding my head, but my worldview was spinning. And it continued to spin when I went into junior high and decided I'm going to be the next Tony Hawk. If you don't know who Tony Hawk is, he's a skateboarder. He lives here in San Diego. He used to be really, really good. I'm sure he still is. I don't know. I haven't seen him. But he had like an Xbox video game, like where he just, you guys know what I'm talking about? He just skateboarded and stuff. And I had the game, and I had like the cool hat that he had and everything. I wanted to be the next Tony Hawk. So I decided I'm going to take my skateboard, and I'm going to go to The Hill. There was this place near our apartment. All the kids knew about it. It was called The Hill. This hill, there's all these houses on it, and you go down the hill, and then there's an intersection where cars are going 30 miles an hour. There is a stop sign, but it's California, so no one stops. So it's just a busy intersection, and I'm on my skateboard. I'm looking at this hill, and I'm thinking, this is my moment. If you had one shot, one chance, this is my moment. I'm going to skate down this thing. I'm going to make it through the intersection because I'll be going faster than the cars. And then my friends will say, he's the next Tony Hawk. So I thought, this is perfect. I got my skateboard. I got on it. And see, I thought that, I pushed off just a little bit, just real small push, and I thought it would stay that same speed the whole time. I learned two things that day. First of all, there's this thing called gravity. And even though there's no gas pedal on your skateboard will start going faster. It got to a point where I was very uncomfortable at the speed at which I was accelerating towards these cars. I did not like that speed. Second thing I learned, skateboards are the only vehicles that don't have brakes. Every other vehicle has a brake. When I get to heaven, I'm going to try to meet the guy who invented the skateboard. He probably won't be there, but I'm going to try to find him. And I'm going to say, bro, you see all these people in heaven? They're here because your skateboard doesn't have brakes. So I'm going down the hill crazy fast. It's speeding up. I had to figure out, how am I going to get off this thing? And then I remembered I had my Air Jordans on. Jordan helped me. Here we go. I thought, here's what I'll do. I've never attempted this, but here's what I'll do. I will just real gently, just real slow, real gently. I'll just put my right leg in the air. I'll balance on my left leg, and then I'll just real gently, just real gently, just put the bottom of the Air Jordan just slightly above the cement, and slowly apply pressure, which will make me gradually slow down, and I'll just walk away like a boss. Oh yeah, this is a genius plan. So I'm going down. I'm on the skateboard. I'm going down, and I lift up my leg. I'm like, all right, real soft. Boom! Now, let me explain what's happening right here. This foot is on the skateboard. This knee is on the cement, and I have not slowed down. I am going probably faster, and my skin, I see it behind me the whole way down. I finally just roll off the skateboard. My skateboard goes flying through the intersection. I just didn't even go and find it. I walked up a bloody and bruised knee, and I quit. I quit skateboarding. And that was my second near-death experience. My first was when I was born not breathing. The second was the skateboard. And then if you've been following my sermons for the last 2 years, you know I've been bitten by a seagull. I've been sprayed by a skunk. I've been surrounded by sharks. I've been chased by a beaver. One time a puppy scratched me. Another time a black Rottweiler jumped on my back and started biting my neck. I'm a survivor. I have survived so many things, mostly animals. And there were times where I'm like, okay, this kind of feels like a comedy, but this is starting to feel pretty tragic. And it felt really tragic because my most recent near-death experience was when the doctors told me, you have tongue cancer, you have throat cancer, you're stage 3, borderline stage 4. If we don't operate, you are going to die. And if you survive, and this was the hard part, if you survive, you might not be able to walk. You might not be able to use your arm. You probably won't speak again. You won't sing again. Do you know what was worse to hear? It wasn't hearing that I might die, because I'm okay seeing Jesus. It was worse hearing that if I survived, my life would not be the same. Especially when he told me, Jason, I asked him, I was like, do you think I'll sing? He was like, no, like don't give yourself false hope. You're not going to sing again. And you guys have to understand, singing is my whole life. You know the first song I ever sang in public? I Believe I Can Fly by R. Kelly. I was in sixth grade, and it was the first song I sang in public. Singing has been my whole life. I've been in so many different bands. I was in a boy band. We were called RAP. We were called Rap, but we were a boy band. There was 5 of us. 3 of them couldn't sing, but I needed 5 guys. I've been in a punk rock band called F+, Finding the Positive in Failure. It's a dumb name. I've been in hip hop groups. I've been in every type of band. I love singing. I've sung my whole life. I love singing so much that sometimes I'll just start singing because I hear a word or a phrase. And there'll be no context. Like, I'll be at my house, and my wife will be on the phone with someone, counseling them, and she'll be like, you know what, just don't stop believing. And I'll be like, don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street lights, people. Oh. She'll be like, please, they're going through a lot right now. Yeah, they hear you in the background. Sometimes we'll go for a walk, we'll just see a dog get out, and she'll be like, man, who let the dog out? I'll be like, who let the dogs out? Who? One time, though, we got home, we'd been on vacation, so the kitchen was kind of a mess, and we walk in, there's dishes everywhere, and my wife is like, oh, honey, like, the kitchen looks crazy. And I was like, crazy? Does that make me crazy? Probably. My heroes have learned to the lives I want to live. And all I remember was thinking, I want to be like them. But ever since I was little, it looked like fun. You know what I mean? Like, I would just start singing. And then she was like, oh my gosh, Jason, like, it's such a mess in here. I hope it's not too late to apologize. I was like, it's too late to apologize. It's too late. Yeah, yeah. That's Timbaland. Yeah, yeah. That was the remix version. And she was like, but is it though? Is it too late to say sorry? I was like, it's too late now to say sorry. I'm missing more than just your body. That was the censored version. And then she dropped something. She's like, oops, I did it again. I was like, oops, I did it again. I was like, wait a minute. This is a weird conversation. I've never had this type of conversation with my wife before. I looked at her. She was smiling at me. I was like, what's going on? She's like, I've been doing an experiment to see if I can get you to sing any song I want you to sing. She was a DJ and I was Spotify, commercial free. She's just been saying random things that she'd be like, wow, look at the ocean. I would like start singing Ocean from Hillsong. She can get me to sing any song, but that's how much I love singing. I love it so much. So when I found out I'm not gonna sing anymore, life did not feel like a comedy anymore. If you were to ask me back then, I would have been like, dude, my life's a tragedy. Everything I love doing, I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna be able to speak, sing, play piano. That's a tragedy. And then something weird happened. When I got cancer, I had it for like 6 months before I told anyone. There were moments, you guys, where I would preach on the stage, and it hurt. Every word I said hurt, but no one knew it except Pastor Jeff and my wife. I didn't tell people I had cancer. I don't know why. I think I was still trying to process everything that was going on. But my friend found out all the surgeries I was about to do and the chemo and the radiation, so he started a GoFundMe page to help me. He posted it on Facebook, and then all my Facebook friends found out that I had cancer. And I remember that day in October, my Facebook page just blew up, like 200 comments, the nicest things. I began to read them. It said, Jason was a good friend. Jason was so funny to hang out with. I remember when Jason came to my city in his band, and they were so inspiring. Jason was this, Jason was. I felt like I was at my own funeral. Like, it was like a Facebook funeral, reading my own eulogies. The craziest thing, you guys, is half of the people who posted were people I never knew they cared about me. Some of them were musicians who I looked up to, and I thought they don't even know I exist. And they were saying things about my music. I was like, wait, you listen to my music? Some of them were friends, and we had an argument when we were younger. We never talked, and then they were saying kind things to me and about me. I was like, this whole time you thought this about me? This whole time you thought kind things about me? And it got me thinking, why do we wait until people are dead or dying to say these things? See, I had a unique opportunity. I got to attend my own funeral. Most people don't. And we wait to say these things until we're at the funeral, and we're like, man, I wish I had said this when they were alive. I hope they're looking down right now. Can I tell you something? They are partying in heaven. They are not at their own funeral. They're not looking down. You waited too long. And maybe you'll get to say those things when you see them in heaven, but why wait that long? Why do we wait? Husbands, we do this all the time. There's things about our wives that we love. There's things she does that you think are just adorable. There's things that you admire about her, how she does most of the work, with the kids. There's things that you love. You never say them. You wait till Valentine's Day, and then you forget when Valentine's Day is. Wives do the same thing. There are things about your husband that you admire, but you're always quick to nitpick and slow to compliment. And the husband always feels degraded because you're withholding compliments. Man, teenagers do this a lot. Some of you parents, you think your kids hate you. But the truth is they see how hard you work, but it's not cool to tell you. So they withhold compliments. And it drives you crazy because you think these people don't care about you. But the truth is everyone in your life cares. They're just not saying it. They're waiting till you're on your deathbed. Why do we do that? You have the power to speak life into people. Listen, if some of these people on Facebook had told me how they felt about me, it would have lifted my spirits years ago. It would have inspired me in my music. It would have inspired me to be a better person. I would have been encouraged. It would have lifted my self-esteem. I wish they had told me sooner. And I realized I do the same thing. There are people that I respect and admire, and I think they're talented and they're awesome and they've blessed me, and I haven't told them. Your homework today is to think of someone who you admire, respect, that you love, who you like, that person has blessed my life. Your homework today is when you get home, you text them, you call them, you email them, you get coffee, and you tell them. And you don't wait until it's too late. You have the power to lift someone's spirits. There are so many people in this world, even in this room, who feel invisible, that no one cares about them. And they're wrong, but no one's saying anything. See, I notice when we're kids, man, we compliment all the time. Little kids love complimenting. They'll come home from kindergarten, the girls will be like, my kindergarten teacher, she's so beautiful. And the boys will be like, yeah, she's really cute. We'll come home, we'll compliment. What happened is we'll send compliments all the time as kids, but as we get older, we get more negative. We withhold positive things to say. In fact, as we get older, I figured out the secret to getting old is just complaining about more and more things. That's the secret to getting old. I've learned that. As you get older, you just get more negative. Kids these days with their Netflix and their cell phones and their Uber. In a few years, they'll have their self-driving vehicles. I used to have a self-driving vehicle. It's called a horse, You know what's interesting? As adults, we will see a cloud in the sky, and we'll think, oh, I wish the weather was going to be perfect. And we're in San Diego, but we complain about the weather a lot. We'll see a cloud and be like, oh, it's probably going to rain. And a little kid will see that same cloud and say, it's a hippopotamus. An adult will see a cloud and see negative. And a kid will say, God is painting. God just made a free bedtime story in the sky. Do you see the dragon? Do you see the little boy? Do you see the sword? And you're like, dude, it's raining. But you know what Jesus said in Matthew 18? He said, if you want to enter the kingdom of heaven, if you want to understand what the kingdom of heaven is about, you need to look at life through the eyes of a child. You have to go back to what it feels like to be a child again. In fact, in Matthew 19, Jesus is hanging with all the adults in the room. And some kids come running up to him, and all the adults are like, whoa, this is for mature people right now. We're with Jesus, the rabbi. No kids allowed. And Jesus says, don't stop them from coming. In fact, you could learn from them. How rude. You could learn from a kid? He says, yes. The kingdom of God belongs to such as these. Which is confusing, because my whole life I was told to grow up, and now Jesus is telling me to grow down? Why is Jesus saying that? I think we get a better clue in Matthew 21. Jesus clears the temple, and then all the kids start singing, Hosanna, Son of David, dude, that's the Messiah. That's the Messiah. And all the adults in the room, the Pharisees, are like, dude, Jesus, tell these kids to shut up. And Jesus says, no. Haven't you read? From the mouth of children, I will be praised. I'm standing before you, and you don't see me, but they do. You see a troublemaker, they see a Messiah. See, kids see things that adults can no longer see. Children can see things more clearly than you and I. I compare it to like going on a road trip. I love going on road trips. The other day, I drove 12 hours to New Mexico in one sitting because that's how much I love road trips. My favorite thing, though, on a road trip, I'll wash my car before I go and then count all the bugs I kill. Just mass genocide on the freeway. Because you'll be driving, you'll be a clean car, and you'll be driving, and then different colored guts. God's amazing. And I try to get all the way, I want to get all the way to my destination and just count all the bugs, but sometimes it gets so bad that I can't see, and like my windshield wipers don't work very good, and I should probably get them fixed. It's been like that for 4 years. But, and sometimes I'm like, man, I'm going to have to pull over and do a car wash, but I was hoping to get there. But that's what life is like. Life is like this long road trip. And as a kid, your windshield is clean and clear. And when you look at life, you see butterflies and clouds and mountains, and you think, this is a beautiful trip. And you get older, and a pebble from the car in front of you flies up, crack on the window. And as adults, we begin to look out our life, and all we see are cracks and brokenness and bruises, and the people who hurt us and disappointed us and weren't there for us, and the people who dropped us. And all we see in life are dead bugs. That's why Jesus said, you need to be born again. You need to return to that place of being like a child. You need to pull over, go through the Jesus car wash. Let me wipe away the hurt and the pain and the stains. Let me fix the cracks in your life so you can see clearly again. Jesus came to a people who thought they were living in a tragedy. If you follow the story of the Jews and you follow the story of Israel and Judah, it would seem like a tragedy. Empire after empire after empire oppressing them and taking them over. And they were sick of it. And they said, Jesus, we're living in a tragedy. And Jesus said, no, you've got to return to that childlike wonder and that childlike faith, and you've got to see me the way that they see me, because when they look at me, they have hope. When they look at me, they see a Messiah and a Savior, and when you look at me, all you see is someone who might beat up the Romans for you. But you don't see me because you're not seeing clearly. You're too battered and bruised and broken from all that's been done to you. And I want to heal you. Jesus, how can you say that? Look at your life. You're nailed to a cross. You're buried in the tomb. How can you say your life's not a tragedy? Let me tell you what the definition of comedy is. When you look at a Shakespeare play, the definition of comedy isn't if the story is funny. What makes it a comedy is if the main character achieves his or her goal. You know, Romeo and Juliet, it would have been a comedy, spoiler alert, if they didn't die at the end. Because you watched the whole thing and you didn't know it was a tragedy until the last 5 minutes. See, sometimes you watch a movie and you can't figure out, is this a good ending, a sad ending? Is this Infinity War or Endgame? Like, what are we watching here? How is this gonna end? I don't know if this is comedy or tragedy. And some of you, you're looking at your life right now and you're saying, my life? If you knew what I've been through, my life is a tragedy. But your story is not over. Jesus is buried in the tomb and they're saying, dude, this dude's life is a tragedy. He walks out of that grave and he says, the story wasn't finished yet. My life is not a tragedy, and your life might be filled with tragic moments, but it is not a tragedy, because a comedy is when the main character achieves his or her goal. So my question to you is, who is the main character in your story? Because if it's Jesus, he always achieves his goal. And he's not done with you. He's not done with your story. It feels like a tragedy now, but don't give up. You just gotta wipe some bugs off the screen, because your story is not over. If you were to ask me 2 years ago, Jason, is your life a tragedy? I would have said yes. And the only thing I could do in that moment was not give up. And I worked hard. I went to speech therapy. I tried to talk again. I tried to sing again. And I got up on the stage and I sang these walls, and I had no idea what would happen. But I want to show you a quick 2-minute video of what happened that following month after we sang these walls.
This week at 5, a cancer survivor becomes a YouTube sensation.
It's an amazing story of one man who defied the odds.
But one man is not letting his battle with tongue cancer stop him from singing and preaching about Jesus.
And this South Bay pastor is inspiring millions around the world tonight.
From singing a song last week in front of Bonita Valley Community Church.
Bonita Valley Community Church.
Bonita Valley Community Church.
Bonita Valley Community Church.
He then performed the song for Bonita Valley Community Church, which posted it online. That's when the song went viral with more than 5 million views, translated into 12 languages and performed in 25 countries across the world.
I'll keep my eyes on you and watch these walls start crumbling. Even in the suffering, I'll sing. Even in the questioning, believe. You are always good, you're good to me, and I will sing. Yeah. This is my song, this is my dare, to worship you, even as these walls are standing there. And this is my song, and this is my prayer, and I will declare, yeah, that nothing is too hard for you. There's nothing you can't do. I'll keep my eyes on you and watch these walls start crumbling. Watch these walls start crumbling. These walls. Watch these walls start crumbling. Watch these walls start crumbling. Down, 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 down.
We had no idea that our church would end up making such an impact literally across the entire globe. Millions upon millions of people have been drawn to this church and to our webcast and our social media following this story, a story that I once thought was a tragedy. But when you make the main character in your story not you, you let him finish the story for you, it's not a tragedy.